4 days before my best friend's wedding, I discovered the groom's secret, and the only reason I didn't speak immediately was because he once saved my life. Abuja was warm that afternoon, the kind of dry heat that clung to the air even inside air-conditioned rooms. The wedding planner's office in Woos was filled with laughter, fabric samples, and the soft rustle of expensive lace. Sarah was glowing. She had just chosen her final wedding dress, and she would not stop smiling. Lily smiled too. She was the maid of honor. She had to. Daniel had stepped out to get something. Sarah was arguing playfully with the decorator about flower colours. Lily's phone battery had died earlier that morning, so when Daniel left his phone on the table, she didn't think twice. She took the phone to check something on the internet. It was innocent. At least that was what she believed. The screen lit up easily. No password. A message notification dropped down before she could even open the browser. Have you told her about your wife in Port Harcourt? That was a message from Daniel's best friend who was totally against his indiscipline. Lily blinked. Her heart gave one hard, slow beat. She thought it was a joke. Then she saw a recent bank transfer 2 weeks ago. Large amount. Description: house rent renewal. Below it, another message. I can't wait to have you in my arms. Our son misses you. Her throat tightened. This was not a misunderstanding. Daniel was not just hiding something small. He was living another life. 4 days from now, he would stand before a pastor and promise Sarah forever. And somewhere in Port Harcourt, another woman was already promised that same forever. Lily's ears began to ring. The room felt smaller. The laughter around her sounded distant, like it was happening underwater. She scrolled again. There were pictures of Daniel holding a boy who looked about 4. The resemblance was clear. Same eyes, same smile. Daniel had a child, and Sarah had no idea. Lily, come and see this, Sarah called from across the room, lifting a bouquet sample. Lily quickly locked the phone. Her hands were shaking now. She looked at Sarah, her best friend since secondary school. The girl who had shared food with her when they were both broke. The girl who had held her hand through heartbreaks and hospital nights. The girl who trusted her more than anyone. Sarah was laughing, trusting, excited. Lily felt something heavy settle in her chest. Daniel walked back into the room, adjusting his watch like nothing in the world was wrong. He picked up his phone casually. For 1 second his eyes met Lily's. And something changed. He saw it. He saw that she knew. The colour drained slightly from his face, but only someone watching closely would notice. Lily didn't look away. The room was still full of people, music, wedding talk, happiness, but between Lily and Daniel, something silent had shifted. Daniel gave her a small nod, not friendly, not warm. It was a warning. Later, as they stepped outside into the Abuja sun, Lily's mind replayed every moment she had ever trusted him. Every time she had defended him. Every time she had told Sarah, he's a good man. 4 days, that was all the time left before vows would be spoken. She could say nothing, or she could destroy everything. The sun felt hotter now. Her chest felt tight. Her loyalty felt expensive. That night, Lily couldn't sleep. She lay awake in her small apartment, staring at the ceiling fan as it spun slowly above her. The room felt too quiet, too still. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the message again. Have you told her about your wife in Port Harcourt? The word wife refused to fade. Her phone rested in front of her. She began to search. At first, nothing appeared, just ordinary social media pages and Daniel's professional profile. Calm, clean, respectable, exactly what she expected. Then she tried something else. She searched Daniel's full name together with Port Harcourt. That was when the first result appeared, a tagged photo from years ago. Daniel stood beside a woman holding a baby. The caption read, "Family Sunday. Grateful." Lily's stomach dropped. She clicked the woman's profile. Grace Daniel. Her page wasn't private. Photos filled the screen: birthdays, house pictures, church events, a little boy growing year by year. And in several older photos, Daniel stood beside them, smiling naturally, comfortably, like he belonged there, not like a visitor, like a husband. Lily's breathing grew shallow. She scrolled further. The dates overlapped. Even after Daniel and Sarah began dating in Abuja, the posts continued: fewer photos with Daniel, but comments remained. "Miss you. Come back soon. We're waiting." Her fingers felt numb. She began taking screenshots, one after another: photos, comments, dates, names, everything. She didn't know why she was doing it, only that she needed proof outside her own memory. Something solid, something undeniable. Before Lily ever trusted Daniel as Sarah's fiancé, she trusted him as the man who had once stood between her and something terrible. It happened on a rainy evening, almost a year after Sarah introduced them. Lily had stayed late at work that day, finishing reports her supervisor insisted were urgent. By the time she left the small office building in Area 3, the streets were already wet and quiet. The rain had slowed to a thin drizzle, but the sky still looked heavy. Transport was difficult to find. After waiting nearly 30 minutes, Lily decided to walk toward the main road where buses were easier to get. She pulled her bag closer to her chest and moved quickly, her sandals slapping softly against the damp pavement. The streetlights flickered. The road ahead was unusually empty. At first, she didn't notice the footsteps behind her. Then she did, slow, matching her pace. Her heart tightened. She walked faster. The footsteps followed. A voice called out from behind her, low and unfamiliar. She didn't turn around. Instead, she crossed the road quickly, hoping to reach the brighter side, where a small shop still had its lights on. But the shop closed just as she approached. The metal door rolled down with a loud final clang. Lily's chest began to rise and fall faster. She heard the footsteps again. Closer now. "Madam, wait," the voice said. She kept moving. Then a hand grabbed her arm. Everything inside her froze. Her bag slipped slightly from her shoulder as she struggled to pull away. The man's grip tightened. The smell of alcohol hit her nose. "Relax," he said, his voice rough. "I just want—" "Leave me!" Lily shouted, her voice breaking. The street remained empty. The rain picked up again. For one terrifying moment, Lily thought no one would come. Then headlights turned into the street. A car slowed. The door opened before the vehicle fully stopped. "Hey!" a firm voice called out. The man holding Lily turned. Daniel. He walked towards them quickly, his posture calm but unyielding. "Let her go," Daniel said. The man hesitated, then released Lily's arm and stepped back, muttering something under his breath before disappearing into the darkness between buildings. Lily's legs felt weak. She hadn't realized how hard she had been shaking until the danger was gone. Daniel didn't ask questions immediately. He simply stood there, making sure the man was truly gone. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. Lily nodded, though tears were already sliding down her face. Daniel opened the passenger door of his car. "Sit," he said softly. Inside the car, the world felt safer. The rain tapped lightly against the windshield. Lily wiped her eyes, embarrassed by how badly she was trembling. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "For what?" Daniel asked. "I should have been more careful." Daniel shook his head. No, you shouldn't have to be careful just to walk home. He drove her home without playing music, without asking unnecessary questions. When they arrived, he waited until she entered the compound gates safely before leaving. That night, Lily couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she remembered the grip on her arm, and then Daniel's voice cutting through the fear. After that day, something changed in how she saw him. Daniel was no longer just Sarah's boyfriend. He was the man who had appeared when she needed help most, the man who made sure she got home safely, the man who didn't expect praise or reward. From that moment, Lily carried a quiet sense of gratitude she never spoke about. It stayed with her through dinners, conversations, and wedding planning. It stayed with her even now, as the truth about him sat heavily in her chest. Because gratitude can feel permanent, and debt can sound a lot like loyalty. Daniel chose his moment carefully. It happened 2 days before the wedding. Lily has been ignoring Daniel's call. He visited her. "Lily," Daniel said softly. She looked up, wondering how he got in. "You've been ignoring my calls?" Her chest tightened immediately. She crossed her arms, unsure whether it was from discomfort or anger. Daniel exhaled slowly and then looked at her. "You saw my phone," he said. It wasn't a question. Lily didn't deny it. "Yes." The silence that followed felt heavy but controlled. Daniel nodded once, as if confirming something he already knew. "I figured," he said. "You've been different." Lily waited. Her heartbeat was loud in her ears. "I can explain," Daniel continued. She almost laughed. "Explain? What explanation could exist for a wife and child in another city?" "I'm listening," Lily said. Daniel rubbed his hands together slowly, choosing his words. "I got married when I wasn't ready," he began. "It was complicated. Family pressure, financial problems. We were already struggling before the baby came." Lily said nothing. "We separated," Daniel continued. "Not officially, but in reality. I moved to Abuja to start again. I send money because of my son. That's all." "Does Sarah know?" Lily asked quietly. Daniel hesitated. That hesitation said everything. "No," he admitted. The word hung in the air. "Why?" Lily asked. Daniel's voice lowered. "Because I didn't want to lose her." Lily felt anger rise in her chest. "So you planned to marry her without telling her?" "It's not like that," Daniel said quickly. "I was going to handle it." "How?" He didn't answer immediately. "I would have told her later," he said finally. Lily shook her head slowly. "Later?" Daniel stepped closer, his voice urgent but still controlled. "You don't understand how hard I worked to build this life," he said. "Everything I have now, I fought for it. Sarah is my future. That other life is already over." "Except for the child," Lily replied. Daniel closed his eyes briefly. "I'm not abandoning my son," he said. "But that marriage is finished. Completely finished." Lily's hands trembled slightly. "You're asking me to keep this from her?" Daniel's eyes met hers. "Yes." The word came without hesitation. "You know Sarah," he continued. "You know how fragile she can be. This will destroy her." Lily's chest tightened. Daniel's voice softened. "I love her. I really do." Lily looked away. "Then tell her the truth." "I can't," Daniel said. The honesty in that sentence was unsettling. "Please," he added quietly. Lily felt something twist painfully inside her. Daniel rarely asked for anything. "I know what I'm asking is difficult," he said. "But I'm begging you." She didn't respond. Daniel took another step closer. "You remember that night," he said gently. Lily froze. The rainy street, the hand on her arm, the fear, Daniel's voice cutting through it. "I didn't think twice," Daniel continued. I just helped you. Lily swallowed hard. I would never use that against you, Daniel said. But I hope you remember who I am. Her throat tightened. I'm not a bad person, Lily. I'm just trying to protect what matters. The words sounded calm, reasonable, dangerous. Lily felt the old gratitude rising again, mixing with confusion and guilt. For a moment she couldn't speak. Daniel stood and walked towards the door. I'll handle it, he said. Just not now. Lily sat there frozen, watching him leave. Her chest felt heavy, her thoughts tangled, and the worst part was that Daniel hadn't shouted. He hadn't threatened, he hadn't lied. He had simply asked, and he reminded her how he saved her life. A day, that was all that remained. The house was full of relatives now. Aunties from Kaduna, cousins from Jos. Noise lived in every corner. Mama Sarah was arguing playfully with the caterer about portion sizes, while moving between rooms answering phone calls. Laughter bounced off the walls. Even the generator outside seemed to hum with excitement. Only Lily felt like she was attending a celebration built on fragile glass. That afternoon, she found Sarah alone in her bedroom, sitting on the floor with wedding shoes spread out in front of her. "Help me choose," Sarah said. "I can't decide." Lily closed the door gently behind her. This was her moment. If she couldn't say the full truth, maybe she could at least open the door to it. "Sarah," Lily began slowly, sitting beside her. "Are you completely sure?" Sarah laughed lightly. "About the shoes?" "No, about everything." Sarah paused, then smiled in a softer way. "Yes," she said. "Why?" Lily's hands felt cold. "I just think marriage is serious," she continued carefully. "People change. Sometimes there are things we don't know." Sarah tilted her head. "Is this about that sermon we heard last Sunday?" "No," Lily said quickly. "I just mean, what if there's something important you haven't asked him?" Sarah studied her for a moment, then she reached for Lily's hand. "You're scared for me." It wasn't what Lily meant, but it was close enough to hide inside. "I just don't want you hurt," Lily whispered. Sarah's expression softened. "Oh, Lily," she said gently. "That's so sweet." Sweet. Lily felt like she was choking on the word. "Listen," Sarah continued, her voice calm and confident. "I know marriage isn't perfect. I know people have flaws. But Daniel isn't hiding anything from me." Lily swallowed hard. "You're sure?" she asked again, her voice barely steady. Sarah nodded firmly. "Yes. We've talked about everything that matters. Everything that matters." The words echoed painfully. Lily wanted to scream, wanted to say, "Ask him about Port Harcourt, ask him about Grace, ask him about the child waiting for his father," but instead she chose the softer path. "What if," Lily said slowly, "what if you found out something big after the wedding?" Sarah smiled again, this time with patience. "Are you nervous about your own future?" she asked. "Is that what this is?" Lily blinked. "What?" "You've always been scared of commitment," Sarah continued gently. "Maybe you're projecting." Projecting. The word hit like a quiet accusation. Sarah pulled her into a side hug. "It's okay to be scared," she whispered. "Marriage is new territory for both of us, but don't let fear make you doubt something beautiful." Lily's chest tightened. This wasn't fear. This was truth. But truth sounded too sharp to say out loud. "I trust Daniel," Sarah repeated softly, "and I trust you." That last part felt like a knife. "Trust you." Lily felt her courage slipping through her fingers. She had tried, she had hinted. She had circled the truth carefully, hoping Sarah would somehow meet her halfway. But Sarah saw only concern, only nerves, only friendship, not warning. "Just promise me," Sarah added, adjusting one of the shoes, "that you'll stand strong beside me on Saturday." Lily forced a small nod. "I will." The words tasted bitter, because standing beside her might mean standing inside the lie. As Lily left the room, the noise of the house swallowed her again. Aunties were arguing about soup spices. Someone was testing the microphone in the sitting room. Life was moving forward quickly. And Lily had just watched her chance shrink again. She told herself she had tried. She told herself Sarah would have asked deeper questions if something was wrong. She told herself this was not fully her responsibility, but deep down, she knew something uncomfortable. She hadn't been brave enough to say it clearly. She had wrapped the truth in soft language. She had disguised it as concern. And as she stepped outside into the fading evening light, one painful thought followed her. Her friend's happiness mattered more than the truth. Morning arrived loudly. By 6 a.m., the house was already alive. Voices overlapped, pots clanged in the kitchen, makeup artists arrived with large boxes. Someone argued about missing gale pins. Laughter burst through hallways like fireworks. It was a wedding morning in Abuja bright, noisy, full of expectation. And Sarah woke up smiling. "I'm getting married!" she shouted from her room, and the house responded with cheers. Lily forced a smile as she walked in with the other bridesmaids. Sarah sat in front of the mirror while the makeup artist worked carefully on her face. Even without makeup, she looked radiant, calm, certain. "You didn't sleep?" Sarah asked Lily playfully. "You?" Lily replied. "Barely," Sarah laughed. "But who needs sleep when you're this happy?" The room filled with teasing and camera flashes. Someone sprayed perfume into the air. Someone else played love songs softly from a phone. Lily stood near the window, watching it all like she was both inside and outside the moment. She felt alone in a room full of people. The truth sat inside her chest like a stone, heavy, cold, unmoving. At the groom's side of town, Daniel was preparing too. The event centre was decorated beautifully, white drapes flowing from the ceiling, gold chairs arranged in perfect rows, flowers placed carefully at the altar. Everything looked pure, perfect. Daniel stood with his groomsmen, adjusting his suit jacket. He looked composed, confident, like a man stepping into destiny. For a second, his eyes met Lily's, just for a second, and then he looked away. That small action said more than any words. He knew. She knew. And neither of them spoke. Music began to play as guests arrived. Relatives hugged, friends took pictures. Mama Sarah wiped tears even before the ceremony started. "God is faithful," she kept repeating. Lily stood near the entrance holding Sarah's bouquet. The white flowers felt delicate in her hands, delicate like the moment. Sarah stepped forward in her gown, glowing under the soft morning light. The room gasped. Lily's throat tightened. This was real. This was happening. As Sarah walked slowly down the aisle, her eyes locked on Daniel with unwavering trust. Daniel smiled at her, that calm, reassuring smile everyone loved. Lily watched his face carefully. There was no panic, no visible guilt, just confidence, and that unsettled her more than anything. The pastor began speaking about love, about honesty, about building a marriage on truth. Each word felt like it was echoing directly at Lily. She gripped the bouquet tighter. Her heart pounded loudly in her ears. She could still stop this even now. One sentence, one interruption, one truth spoken clearly, the entire hall would freeze, the wedding would shatter. Sarah's world would tilt, violently. Daniel's secret would explode into daylight. Her own role in this silence would be exposed. Her mind raced, her chest tightened. Daniel avoided looking at her again, because eye contact would mean acknowledgement. Acknowledgement would mean responsibility, and responsibility would mean choice. The pastor asked if anyone had objections. The room remained silent. Still, breathless, Lily's lips parted slightly. Her voice sat at the edge of her throat. Waiting. The seconds stretched painfully long. She looked at Sarah. At the joy in her eyes, at the future she believed was beginning. And Lily felt the full weight of the secret pressing against her ribs. This was the moment. The final line between loyalty and truth. Between gratitude and integrity. Her heart felt like it might burst. Because standing there, surrounded by celebration, one truth became painfully clear. Silence felt heavier than truth. The pastor smiled gently as he continued. Marriage is built on trust, honesty, and truth? Wait. The word came out before Lily fully realized she had spoken. Soft but loud enough. The hall froze. The pastor stopped mid-sentence. The keyboard player's fingers hovered over the keys without pressing them. Sarah turned slowly. Lily? Her voice was confused, not afraid, not yet. Lily's heart pounded so hard she could feel it in her throat. Her hands trembled, but her feet moved. One step forward, then another. She wasn't thinking anymore. Thinking had kept her silent for too long. Sarah, Lily said quietly, I need to talk to you. Murmurs began to ripple through the audience. Mama Sarah frowned from the front row. Daniel's face tightened. Lily, Sarah said gently, trying to laugh it off. Can it wait? Lily shook her head. No. Something in her voice changed the air. The pastor stepped back instinctively. The hall felt smaller. Sarah searched Lily's face, trying to understand. What's wrong? Lily swallowed. Please, just come with me. For a moment Sarah hesitated. Then she followed Lily off the altar. The whispers in the room grew louder. Two bridesmaids exchanged worried looks. Daniel did not move. They stopped behind the decorative curtain near the side of the hall. Far enough for privacy, close enough to hear the restless crowd. Sarah crossed her arms. You're scaring me. Lily's hands shook as she reached into her bag. Her phone felt heavier than usual. I'm sorry, Lily whispered. For what? Lily opened the saved messages. The pictures, the documents, proof. She handed the phone to Sarah. At first, Sarah didn't understand what she was looking at. Then her eyes slowed, focused. Read again and again. Her face changed. The confusion faded first, then the colour drained. No, Sarah whispered. Lily's chest tightened. Sarah! This is fake, Sarah said quickly, shaking her head. This is fake! It's not, Lily said. Sarah looked at her again, desperate now. You're mistaken. I confirmed it, Lily said, her voice breaking. Daniel is already married. He has a child in Port Harcourt. It's hurting me keeping it away from you. Sarah's hands began to tremble. Her eyes filled with tears she wasn't ready to release. She walked back toward the altar slowly, like someone moving underwater. Lily followed. Every step felt irreversible. The hall went completely quiet when Sarah returned. Daniel finally looked nervous. Sarah, he said. She didn't respond. She simply handed him the phone. Daniel looked down. For the first time that day, he had no expression ready, no calm smile, no reassuring words, just stillness. The room felt like it was holding its breath. How long? Sarah asked. Her voice was steady in a frightening way. Daniel didn't answer. How long? She repeated. A year, he said quietly. Gasps spread through the hall. Mama Sarah covered her mouth. The pastor looked down. Daniel's groomsmen shifted uncomfortably. Before me? Sarah asked. Yes, and you never told me. Daniel struggled to speak. I was going to fix it. Fix it? Sarah repeated. It wasn't working anymore, he said. We were separated. You were still married, Sarah cut in. Daniel looked at Lily just once. Not angry, not pleading, just tired. You told her, he said. Lily didn't respond. Sarah noticed the glance and understood everything. You knew and kept it away from me, Sarah said slowly to Lily. Tears fell down Lily's face. I'm sorry. The word barely existed when it left her mouth. The hall felt like it might collapse under the tension. Sarah took a step back, then another. The keyboard player accidentally pressed a single note. It echoed strangely through the silence, then stopped, just like the wedding, just like the illusion. But the truth kept moving, kept spreading, kept settling into every corner of the room, because some moments don't end when the ceremony stops. There was no formal announcement, no closing prayer, no explanation that made sense. People simply understood. Guests left in confused clusters, whispering as they walked toward the gate. Some were angry about the embarrassment. Others were stunned into silence. A few stayed behind, hoping the situation would somehow reverse itself. It didn't. Sarah sat in a chair near the altar, staring at nothing. Her makeup had begun to smudge, but she didn't seem to notice. Mama Sarah knelt beside her, crying openly now, holding her daughter's hands like she could keep her from falling apart. My child, my child. But Sarah didn't respond. She just kept staring ahead, like someone trying to wake from a nightmare that refused to end. Daniel was gone. No dramatic exit. No final speech. No attempt to defend himself to the crowd. At some point during the confusion, he had simply walked out of the hall. Only his groomsmen remained, speaking quietly among themselves, unsure whether to stay or leave. The man everyone trusted had disappeared when trust mattered most. The families began to divide almost immediately. Some of Daniel's relatives insisted the situation was complicated and should have been handled privately. Why humiliate him like this? One uncle asked loudly. Marriage is not perfect, another added. They could have resolved it. On Sarah's side, emotions were different. Shock, anger, pain, gratitude mixed with a heartbreak. One aunt hugged Lily tightly. You did the right thing, she whispered. Another relative was less kind. You should have spoken earlier, she said sharply. Why wait until the wedding day? Lily had no answer. Because both reactions were true. She had done the right thing, and she had waited too long. Sarah finally stood after what felt like hours. Her movements were slow, fragile. She walked toward Lily. For a moment, Lily feared a slap, or words that would cut deeper than silence. Instead, Sarah stopped in front of her. Her voice was quiet. You knew, Sarah said, closing her eyes. That hurt more than the secret itself, the delay, the silence, the waiting. You let me plan everything, Sarah said. I didn't know how to tell you, Lily whispered. Sarah nodded slowly like she understood and hated understanding at the same time. Pain lived in her eyes now, not rage, not yet, just pain. I need to go home, Sarah said. Mama Sarah quickly came to her side, guiding her gently away. Lily watched her leave in the same dress meant for celebration. Now it looked like mourning. By evening, the story had spread across the community. Phones rang non-stop. Messages flooded social media. People took sides quickly the way communities always do. Some called Lily brave, others called her wicked. Some said Daniel was wrong but deserved privacy. Others said Sarah had been saved from a lifetime mistake. Opinions multiplied faster than facts. And Lily sat alone in her room, replaying the day over and over again, every choice, every hesitation, every moment she could have spoken sooner. The silence of the room felt louder than the wedding hall had been. She kept remembering Daniel's face when he realized the truth had surfaced. Not angry, not shocked, just tired, like someone who knew the end had finally arrived. That night, Lily received 2 messages, one from an unknown number. "You destroyed everything," and one from Sarah. Just 3 words. "I need time." Lily stared at the screen for a long time, then placed the phone beside her. Doing the right thing did not feel victorious. It felt lonely, heavy, complicated, because saving someone can sometimes look like betrayal. A month later, the silence between Lily and Sarah no longer felt like punishment. It felt like healing. Slow healing, careful healing, the kind that comes with small steps instead of big conversations. They met at a quiet cafe in Abuja on a Saturday afternoon. Not the crowded places they used to love, but somewhere calm, somewhere neither of them had memories tied to. Sarah arrived first. Lily saw her through the glass before entering. She looked different, not broken, just quieter, stronger in a way that came from surviving disappointment. Lily paused at the door for a moment, steadying her breath before walking in. "Hi," Lily said. Sarah looked up and gave a small smile. "Hi." That single word carried 2 months of distance, reflection, and pain. But it also carried something else, willingness. They sat in silence for a minute. The waiter came and left. Neither of them rushed to fill the space. The friendship had changed, but it hadn't disappeared. "I moved," Sarah said finally. "From the old apartment." Sarah nodded. "Too many memories." Lily understood. Some places hold ghosts that never leave. "How are you?" Lily asked gently. Sarah exhaled slowly. "Better than before, worse than I expected." They both smiled faintly. Honesty had returned. "I went to therapy," Sarah continued. "It helped." "That's good," Sarah nodded. "I kept asking myself the same question," she said. "Why didn't I see it?" Lily didn't answer, because that question had lived in her own mind too. "I trusted him completely," Sarah said. "And I trusted you completely." The words were not accusations, just truth. "I know," Lily whispered. Sarah stirred her drink slowly. "The wedding day hurt," she said. "But not the way people think." Lily's chest tightened. "It wasn't just Daniel's lie," Sarah continued. "It was knowing you were carrying it alone." Tears filled Lily's eyes again. "I was scared," she said. "I didn't want to destroy you." Sarah nodded. "I know." Another quiet moment passed. Then Sarah said something Lily did not expect. "Thank you." Lily blinked. "For what?" "For stopping the wedding," Sarah replied. "I couldn't say it then. I couldn't even think it. But I see it now." Lily's hands trembled slightly on the table. Sarah looked directly at her. "If you stayed silent, I would be married to him right now." The weight of that reality sat between them. Heavy, real. "I don't know how long it would have taken me to discover the truth," Sarah continued. "Maybe years, maybe never." Lily wiped her cheek quickly. "I almost said nothing," she admitted. Sarah gave a small, understanding smile. "But you didn't." They talked for hours after that. Not about Daniel, not about the wedding, but about life, work, family, small, ordinary things that once felt automatic. Rebuilding trust wasn't dramatic, it was simple, conversation by conversation, laugh by laugh, memory by memory. The friendship wasn't the same, but it was real again, and maybe stronger than before because now it included honesty that had been tested. That evening, as they walked out of the cafe together, the sky glowed orange with sunset. For the first time since the wedding, Lily felt something inside her settle. Not relief, not pride, just peace. Sarah stopped before getting into a taxi. "You know something," she said. "What?" "I used to think loyalty meant protecting people from pain." Lily listened. "Now I think loyalty means protecting people from lies." She closed the car door gently. The taxi drove away. And Lily stood there watching it disappear into traffic, thinking about everything that had happened. About Daniel, about silence, about truth, about the cost of doing the right thing. Gratitude can bind you to someone, love can blind you, fear can delay you, but truth eventually demands its voice. Lily turned and began walking home slowly, and one final thought settled clearly in her heart. He saved her life once, but telling the truth saved hers forever. Was Lily wrong for waiting that long before revealing the truth? Let me know in the comments. What part of the world are you listening from?